name is Alisa Warshawski. I am a product manager, currently a VP of web product at Frankly Inc., where I'm overseeing the front end, including basically a legacy platform and building a new next-gen platform. And I've been at the company for less than about 9 months or so. I actually came in as a VP of Solutions Engineering. After 15 years of running product at different companies, I came in this kind of changed position to be able to take a little bit of a break, and then there ended up being an opening for me running product within the organization. And I actually came back to this organization, frankly, it had been previously WorldNow, and frankly, it acquired WorldNow back in 2015, and I have a number of friends and colleagues that I had worked with for many, many years at WorldNow back in my when I first got into product. And so I'm back working with that team, and actually my current manager is actually my original manager when I became a product manager. So I've been working on that and basically trying to get a number of the foundation and the table stakes for this new platform into place so that our customers can take advantage of it. And our customer base is 200 plus media companies, mostly local broadcast television stations around the country. And we provide a suite of tools, all mostly in the cloud, everything from content management system to video to the front end sites, analytics, monetization platforms, data platforms, to basically help these media companies monetize their digital properties. It also includes mobile apps, OTT apps, kind of everything. So kind of input once, output many. I think that's kind of an old term, but I think it still really applies for this company. Before this company, I was at Time Inc., where I was the head of product for the food brands and actually oversaw health as well. Where I worked on cookinglight.com, myrecipes.com, foodandwine.com, and health.com. And I was there for about 18 months and really was the guidance for the food brands as a whole. So I worked with a couple product managers that led the different properties within the total food portfolio, which was in the lifestyle group, which also included brands like Real Simple. And so I worked a lot with that, as well as a redesign on Cooking Light and on my recipes, and kind of rethinking how those sites are working. They had been very old sites that hadn't been updated in quite a few years, and moving them to responsive, and trying to make sure you balance out what we're doing as far as what makes sense from a product and what does the user need, with how do you make sure you're monetizing the work that's there, because ultimately it's a balance between what the right product decision is and what it needs to be to make the revenue, and things like interstitials and slideshows, and is that something you want or is that something you don't? So I spent a good amount of time doing that and really working with the teams and working very closely with the content teams there, as well as SEO and analytics teams and a number of other stakeholders. So it was a lot of stakeholders and trying to make sure that we're kind of modernizing old print brand websites into modern responsive sites. Before that, I was at Scripps Networks Interactive, and I spent almost 5 years there also working on the food brand. So I have a great background in working on food sites. I actually worked on Food Network and Cooking Channel, their websites, and did a huge replatform, rebrand, redesign of their entire platform while I was there, which was about a 2-year project that we worked on. And there was probably at different points anywhere from 10 people to 50 people working on it. Over time, I was kind of in the middle of it from a product perspective. I also worked with food.com as well. It had its own director for product management, but I worked closely with her on that brand. So had a lot of product experience there. And then prior to those two positions, I was at the company WorldNow that I already mentioned. So I started there in 2000, kind of right before the bubble burst, and came in client services, actually. I had been working at Fox Broadcasting in Los Angeles and wanted to move somewhere besides, or live somewhere besides Southern California before I was old and settled. And I moved to New York thinking I'd be here for a year or two. I had an old colleague at WorldNow who got me the interview, and then over time I ended up getting the position and moving to New York for this client services position, working with the TV stations. And I had had that experience from working at Fox Broadcasting. And so what became interesting is that I immediately started getting put on these cross-functional teams. And this is really where I discovered what product was, or product management was. And I didn't know what product management was before that. I was a psych major in college, and kind of one thing led to another. And I was all of a sudden now at an internet company in New York and working on technology. And fortunately, I'm pretty technical and I can pick it up pretty quickly. It's just kind of the mindset I have. So I started getting put on these cross-functional teams representing the clients, and really got introduced to this concept of product management. And I don't remember the exact moment, but I can remember like the period in time where I literally started searching, and I'd say Google, but it was probably Yahoo at that point, looking at what is this job? What is this thing? And is it actually being a career? And so I realized that this was a career and started to kind of split my time. And I think at the time I joked that while I managed clients and helped them launch their brands, or kind of work with the station on change management to recognize how important the digital was, and it was okay to break news on the web, rather than at the 5 o'clock hour where they were so, accustomed to breaking news. But moving over, and kind of the extracurricular activity that I had was this product job. And we didn't really have true product management. I think at one point when I first started, there might have been some, but not really in that role. So I started moving more and more time, and I started splitting more of my time towards working with the big brands that we worked with, the big clients. I worked with Boston.com at one point, and ABC sites, and Tribune Broadcasting, and worked with all these number of brands. But I was really spending a lot of my time thinking about the product, and started getting more involved in the product. And about 5 years in, I finally this is all I'm doing. I'm barely managing the clients at this point. And that was okay because I had other people managing them, but I really wasn't focused on it anymore. And so I wrote a business proposal to my current manager that I have now, but back to him then, and said, hey, this is what I think it should be. This is what I think my role would be. And it got approved. And so I actually moved into a product management role. And over the next 6 years, and some changes happened, and that manager left. And so at one point I was running product now. And so I actually had a couple product managers underneath me. I had project managers under me. I was really the liaison between our kind of the overarching senior VP for the team for technology and product, and the engineer team. And so I worked really hand in hand in a bunch of different areas, and different focuses between our video platform and the video publishing and the video player and the ad platform and the SEO. And it really gave me an opportunity to kind of learn the broad spectrum. I think fortunately I don't have to deal with every piece of that today. And there are, experts in different areas, ad tech being one of them. And especially at Time Inc. and at Scripps, I had SEO teams and analytics teams that really were able to kind of bring in their expertise into it, which I learned. And now being back at a smaller company, I can take advantage of those pieces. So anyway, that's kind of the history of where I got to this. It was something that product just fell in my lap, and I discovered it, and I really like the problem solving aspect of it. So taking an issue, taking a challenge, taking something and figuring out how to make it better. And then, I love drawing on the whiteboard and figuring out how it all comes, together, and making sure that we're outlining what that looks like and catching the edge cases, and then ultimately delivering something at the end, for that moment in time, of course.